Rock stars and rappers are usually pretty good at getting attention. If they're not working a microphone, they're on social media doing promo. So, what's the deal with these artists sort of disappearing?
The White Stripes rose to prominence in the early 2000s with an unlikely strategy, playing loud, trashy, straightforward garage rock, but doing it really, really well. The duo combined minimal elements to create their special formula, the bluesy, flamboyant vocals and guitar work of frontman Jack, and the steadfastly simple drumming of Meg. The pair were married until 2000, but even after their divorce, they kept turning out smash albums. Shortly after the release of 2007's Icky Thump, it was reported that Meg was dealing with anxiety, which had begun to affect her ability to perform. As an official statement from the band put it, Meg White is suffering from acute anxiety and is unable to travel at this time. The demands of being an international rock star may have been a factor, as well as Meg's natural tendency to introversion. Either way, Icky Thump ended up being the White Stripes' swan song. While Jack has continued to record and perform, Meg simply fell out of the spotlight and never really resurfaced. In 2014, Jack told Rolling Stone that he practically never talked to his former bandmate, and neither did anyone else so far as he knew. Depending on your age, you probably know Grace Slick as either the vocalist for Jefferson Airplane, or its revamped version, Jefferson Starship, or the further revamped version known simply as Starship. Slick's distinctly recognizable voice was a fixture of popular music for the better part of 2 decades, but around 1989, she pretty much disappeared. And the reason is about as rock and roll as it gets. According to Slick herself, she retired at the age of 50 because you just shouldn't rock anymore at a certain age. As she explained in a 2015 interview with WENN, there's something about old people singing rock and roll lyrics that bothers me. It just doesn't match. She also expressed a distaste for her work from the 80s. As she admitted, "I'm lying if I say nothing's gonna stop us now. A truck will stop you instantly. And 52% of people who get together get a divorce. What do you mean nothing's gonna stop us now? It's bull. And there's no city built on rock and roll." But Slick is still doing pretty well for herself. She's now a painter who has a special affinity for scenes from Alice in Wonderland, and her works have sold for up to $30,000. Queen was a band full of interesting characters. There was, of course, lead singer Freddie Mercury, as well as guitarist Brian May and drummer Roger Taylor. And then there was John Deacon, who played the bass. As was somewhat typical of rock bassists, Deacon was the quiet one, the guy who stood there and simply laid down a solid rhythm section. But behind the scenes, he contributed in other important ways, co-writing such hits as Stone Cold Crazy, You're My Best Friend, and Another One Bites the Dust. Mercury passed away in 1991, which hit Deacon particularly hard. As May revealed in a 2017 interview with The Times, Deacon began to fade away from Queen pretty much immediately afterward. As May put it, he found Mercury's death incredibly hard to process to the point where actually playing with us made it more difficult. Deacon had also been handling the band's finances since the mid-70s, and although he now shuns the limelight, he continues to fill that role for his old friends. In a 2014 interview with Rolling Stone, May noted, "John Deacon is still John Deacon. We don't undertake anything financial without talking to him." There was a time in the late 60s when pretty much every singer-songwriter wanted to be Bob Dylan. That is, everyone except Joni Mitchell, who was intent on blazing her own trail in a male-dominated field. Her deeply personal brand of songwriting resonated with fans and peers alike, and while she only ever scored one top 10 hit, her influence is incalculable. In addition to her own songs, she's also penned hits for the likes of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, as well as Judy Collins.
And she sang me Both Sides Now.
Wow.
And I said, "Oh my God, I'll be right over."
Mitchell walked away from music in the late 90s, for a reason that should surprise no one. She'd grown sick and tired of the music industry and its treatment of genuine artists, especially women. As she told The Guardian in 2007, "I came to hate music. I listened only to talk shows for 10 years. Complicating any hope of a comeback was a brain aneurysm that Mitchell suffered in 2015, after which she lost the ability to play guitar. Fortunately, she relearned that skill by watching old videos of herself. And in 2022, she delighted fans with a surprise performance at the Newport Folk Festival." Few debut albums have made a bigger impact in music history than Guns N' Roses' 1987 release, Appetite for Destruction. Their scruffy look and aggressive sound were completely different from their hair metal peers. Appetite would ultimately become one of the biggest albums of the decade, with more than 18 million copies sold in the US alone as of 2023. The band's 1991 follow-ups, Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2, likewise sold like hotcakes, which was a bit of an issue for guitarist Izzy Stradlin. Stradlin was becoming increasingly disillusioned by frontman Axl Rose's ego and his bandmates' voracious drug consumption. So in the middle of a tour in 1991, he up and quit and then never looked back. In 2016, LA Weekly attempted to catch up with Stradlin at his home in Ojai County, California, but they literally couldn't find him. His last public performance to date was as a guest at an Aerosmith concert in 2012, and at least for now, he seems perfectly content to remain completely out of the spotlight. The Smashing Pumpkins were something of a rarity in the early 90s as a non-grunge rock band that were actually quite successful. Their 1993 album Siamese Dream went platinum 4 times over, and 1995's Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness more than doubled that feat. Songwriter and vocalist Billy Corgan anchored the band, along with guitarist James Iha and bassist Darcy Wretzky. But then in 1999, Wretzky was either fired or she quit, depending upon whom you ask. In a 2004 post on his LiveJournal blog, Corgan claimed that Wretzky was a drug addict who refused to get help. Wretzky left the world of music to live on a farm with their horses, and she declined to fire back at Corgan's claims until 2018, when her former bandmates declared that they'd been trying to get her to reunite with them for years. In an interview with Alternative Nation, she insisted that this was a bald-faced lie, that she and Corgan never got along, and that her entire time in the band was nightmarish. She also noted that Corgan had a habit of throwing tantrums, and that she would just laugh at him, while adding, "When Billy fired me, James went along with him, because he said he thought that's what I wanted. James just needs to grow a spine. Jesus."
It's like, I don't know.
In the 80s and 90s, R.E.M. were the pioneers of the burgeoning genre of alternative rock. With their 1987 release Document and its hit single The One I Love, the band would evolve into superstars. Over the ensuing quarter century, R.E.M. displayed remarkable resilience, even soldiering on after drummer Bill Berry suffered a career-ending double aneurysm in 1995. But then in 2011, they decided to call it quits. In a statement announcing the breakup, bassist Mike Mills said that their final album, Collapse Into Now, felt like a natural stopping point, while noting, "There's no disharmony here, no falling outs, no lawyers squaring off, the time just feels right." While R.E.M. had always loved writing and recording music, they developed a burning hatred for the industry. As guitarist Peter Buck explained to Rolling Stone in 2016, "It was the money, the politics, having to meet new people 24 hours a day, not being in charge of my own decisions. I hate the business, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it."
We broke up at the right time for the right reasons.
In the early 80s, Billy Squier was a titan of rock radio. His brand of anthemic arena hits were tailor-made for the period, and he landed in the top 20 with The Stroke and Rock Me Tonight, the latter of whose video got plenty of airtime on MTV. Unfortunately, this was a rare case in which the heavy MTV exposure was not a boon to a rock star's career, but instead a massive liability. In the book I Want My MTV, The Uncensored Story of the Music Video Revolution, music journalists Rob Tannenbaum and Craig Marks devote an entire chapter to the Rock Me Tonight video. It featured Squier vamping around in a pink tank top, rolling around in satin sheets, and generally behaving in a manner that wasn't considered to be befitting of a rock god. Squier pretty much placed the blame on the video for tanking his career, and while he soldiered on for close to another decade, the final straw came in 1993, when an incoming executive at his label, Capitol Records, flatly stated his intention to bury Squier's upcoming record, Tell the Truth. He released one more album in 1998, but no more since then. Linda Ronstadt is both country music and rock and roll royalty. She had a jaw-dropping run of 5 straight platinum albums in the 70s, and she's also won 11 Grammys, both as a solo artist and for her various collaborations. She could doubtless still bring fans out in droves to hear her perform even today, but unfortunately, that's no longer an option. That's because Ronstadt has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which has completely robbed her of her once powerful singing voice. That diagnosis was later revised to a condition known as progressive supranuclear palsy, but as far as any chance of performing goes, the change made no difference. In a 2019 conversation with The New Yorker, she conceded that while she enjoyed having friends play music in her living room, she wasn't terribly psyched about no longer being able to sing. As she put it, "I've just accepted it. There's absolutely nothing I can do."
Yeah. Do you have a lot of regrets?
A few. Not a lot.
When you've been one of the biggest bands in the world for 6 decades like the Rolling Stones, every member tends to develop a bit of mythology. That's certainly true of frontman Mick Jagger and lead guitarist Keith Richards. But as for original bassist Bill Wyman, well, there's an exception to every rule. Wyman left the band amicably in 1992 after over 30 years. Then in 2008, he told The Telegraph that he was simply tired of hauling out the same old songs after all that time, and that he was enjoying the more low-key nature of his post-Stones band, the Rhythm Kings. In 2019, he told the Los Angeles Times that he'd remained friends with his Stones bandmates, while adding, "We still send each other birthday and Christmas presents. We see each other socially when it's possible. It's a family thing, although it sounds corny. It's not business anymore."
Few rap songs have reached #1 on the pop charts, and that was particularly true in 1990 when rap was considered a niche genre. However, MC Hammer's 1990 hit You Can't Touch This smashed through those barriers and paved the way for pop-oriented rap, including his follow-up hit Too Legit to Quit. Hammer, who was born Stanley Kirk Burrell, became an icon, complete with cartoon tie-ins, merchandising, the whole bit. He made tens of millions, and he spent it as fast as he made it. As the Daily Mirror explains, Hammer spent so much money on anything and everything that he effectively went broke and was forced to declare bankruptcy. After his rap career fizzled, Burrell found God and went into the ministry. He maintains an active Instagram account, and it appears as though he's still involved in pastoral work, though in recent years, he has transitioned to tech investment. By some measures, being spoofed by Weird Al Yankovic is proof that you've made it as an artist. Houston rapper Chamillionaire, whose given name is Hakeem Sariki, is one such artist. His 2005 hit Ridin' Dirty was parodied as white and nerdy. Indeed, according to Vulture, Sariki had nothing but praise for Weird Al's spoof of his one and only hit song, saying, "It's really an honor when he does that. Weird Al is not going to do a parody of your song if you're not doing it big." After that high point, though, Chamillionaire's career dimmed, with follow-up projects failing to reach his earlier heights. However, he invested his earnings into various businesses, including a Texas auto customization shop and his own record label, Chamilitary Entertainment. He also was an early investor in Lyft and has become a respected tech investor, regularly appearing on CNBC and other networks to discuss his mission to bring tech opportunities to disadvantaged communities.
My mission is to try to help a lot more people that look like me get into some of these companies.
Sometimes a musician will forge a career in acting as a sort of follow-up to their music career. Lauryn Hill took the opposite approach. She was an actor, appearing in Sister Act 2 before making it big as a rapper with the seminal 90s act The Fugees. After The Fugees, Lauryn struck out on her own, releasing her seminal album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, in 1998. Unfortunately for Hill, she failed to follow up the success of Miseducation with subsequent projects, facing a lot of legal trouble along the way. She still tours, although if you buy a ticket to one of her concerts, you are rolling the dice, as Hill reportedly has a habit of showing up late to concerts or not showing up at all. In the late 1980s, Luther Campbell, also known as Luke Skywalker, Luke, and Uncle Luke, blazed a trail by operating one of the first independent rap labels and championing First Amendment rights. With his group 2 Live Crew, Campbell released As Nasty as They Wanna Be in 1989, alleged to contain lyrics so obscene it became illegal to sell. The resulting case reached the Supreme Court. Campbell also took to the courts to successfully argue that Pretty Woman, 2 Live Crew's version of Roy Orbison's Oh Pretty Woman, didn't break copyright law because it constituted fair use in the form of parody. Campbell continued to record and release new music into the 2000s, although he scored his last and biggest hit in 1998 with the top 40 single Raise the Roof. He still tours and can fill venues while crafting and releasing music for others through his Luke Records imprint. In 2018, Campbell also helped make and starred in Warriors of Liberty City. The documentary series depicts the Liberty City Warriors youth sports organization. It's a group Campbell helped co-found to provide a road to success for underprivileged kids in the Miami area, where crime and property rates are high.
I went out there one day, "Hey man, what y'all think about starting football out here?" And they were like, "If you start it, we'll play."
One of the tougher and harder sounding groups of 90s hip-hop, Queens-based rap collective Onyx hit big in 1993. Its first 3 singles were all smashes: Shifty, Throw Ya Guns, and the classic Slam, a number 4 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. The members of Onyx take turns delivering menacing but hard-partying verses on the song, with Sticky Fingaz handling the final, climactic stanzas in a raspy, desperate voice, declaring himself the inspiration of a whole generation. What was once a quartet is now a duo, with original Onyx members Big DS and Sonny Siza departing in 1994 and 2009 respectively. Remaining rappers Fredro Starr and Sticky Fingaz have continued to record as Onyx into the 2020s for small and independent labels. Sticky Fingaz, under his given name of Kirk Jones, produces a lot of entertainment elsewhere as a founder of major independents. He's also racked up dozens of acting credits, including films like Next Friday, and is a founding member of the charity Hunger Aid. One of the most dominant rappers of the late 1990s and early 2000s, Juvenile was a standout act on Cash Money Records, purveyor of the New Orleans hip-hop sound. Juvenile's third album, 400 Degrees, sold more than 4 million copies, and he's likely best known for two mega hits, Back That Ass Up and Slow Motion. Juvenile, whose given name is Terrius Gray, never really stopped making music. After a 5-year hiatus, in 2019, the rapper teamed with Birdman for the new album Just Another Gangsta. In June 2023, Troy Carter, a congressional representative from Juvenile's home state of Louisiana, honored the rapper with a resolution commemorating service to hip-hop and the black community of New Orleans. Juvenile is also busy branching out into various businesses. In 2023, he launched a new hard seltzer called Juvie Juice, which features his image on the can. Hip-hop developed in New York City in the 1970s and 1980s, and the city produced a lot of influential acts, including Third Bass, a trio that included MC Serch, DJ Richie Rich, and Prime Minister Pete Nice, a Columbia University student and radio host who played emergent rap acts. They signed to early rap label Def Jam and produced the well-reviewed The Cactus album and Derelicts of Dialect, the latter of which generated the hit Vanilla Ice diss track Pop Goes the Weasel. But when MC Serch went solo in 1992, that put an end to Third Bass. Third Bass is a play on third base, a baseball term, and fittingly, Pete Nice quit music in order to devote his professional life to documenting the history of the sport. Under his birth name of Peter J. Nash, the musician spent 7 years researching 2003's Baseball Legends of Brooklyn's Greenwood Cemetery, a book about the final resting place of 200 of baseball's early legends and innovators. He also published Boston's Royal Rooters and wrote and produced the accompanying Red Sox documentary, Rooters, Birth of Red Sox Nation. Nash also operated a baseball memorabilia shop in Cooperstown, New York, just outside the Baseball Hall of Fame. But in recent years, he's pivoted to become one of the curators of the Universal Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx. He told BronxNet that the endeavor to preserve hip-hop history is a community effort.
We have a lot of living legends that are going to come in and be involved in this as well.
While still a teenager, Brat became one of the first women to make it big in the male-dominated world of hip-hop, releasing the platinum-selling Functified in 1994, the first in a long string of 90s hits for the rapper. In 2015, Brat joined the on-air staff of popular Atlanta radio program The Ricky Smiley Morning Show, simulcast in part for the syndicated TV talk show Dish Nation. And in 2020, she teamed up with fellow Millennium-era stars LaToya Luckett and Kyla Pratt for a well-reviewed stage production of the 1996 crime movie Set It Off. The rapper and entertainer has also experienced many milestones in her personal life. In March 2020, she announced she was in a long-term relationship with entrepreneur Jessica Dupart. The couple married in February 2022, and a year later, the rapper announced her pregnancy. Jersey City rapper Joe Budden recorded a huge amount of material in the 2000s, both solo and with the supergroup Slaughterhouse. He's as well known for hits like Pump It Up as he is for engaging in public feuds with other rappers. After 8 solo albums and several mixtapes, Joe Budden walked away from the business of making music. Instead of creating hip-hop, Budden made a name for himself as a hip-hop journalist, covering the music and the scene for Complex in 2017 as the host of the daily program Everyday Struggle. A year later, he joined Sean Combs' media company Revolt, running and hosting the talk show State of the Culture. Budden also hosted the Joe Budden Podcast, joining the board of Patreon in the process. Teenage rapper Soulja Boy utilized the emergent online tools of the 2000s to become, briefly, a cultural phenomenon. He uploaded his tracks, utilized the visibility-spreading powers of MySpace, and launched a viral dance craze to sell millions of downloads of Crank That Soulja Boy, a #1 hit in 2007. The last time a Soulja Boy album charted was the 2010 release The DeAndre Way, a riff on his given name, DeAndre Way. Soulja Boy has since released several records and mixtapes. In 2022, Revolt TV aired the first season of Soulja Boy's reality show The Life of Draco, which bridged the entertainer's shift into appearing in on-screen entertainment. In a 2022 Instagram Live video, Soulja Boy stated that he was now an actor and had a new show coming out, but so far, no show has materialized. New York-born Kelis Rogers, who performed under her first name, had a lengthy career in rap beginning in the late 1990s. However, she reached her career peak in the early aughts, with the release of her 2003 hit Milkshake and her tumultuous and toxic marriage to fellow rapper Nas. After her marriage ended and her music career ended, Kelis took a step back. She enrolled in one of the world's most prestigious culinary schools, France's Le Cordon Bleu, and then bought a farm outside of LA. In 2020, she told The Guardian, "You get up in the morning and do what you gotta do, and then you look around and you're like, why does it still look like this? Oh my God."